Hey, coaches, welcome to our weekly curriculum overview. Specific to U9 to U12, although it can be applied everywhere. We're going to have weekly Zooms with our 9 to 10 coaches. We'll welcome in, I think, additional coaches. But tonight, if you have any more detailed questions on this after you've watched it, we can discuss those. So make sure you've jot down any questions you might have, or maybe suggestions or ideas that might go with it, and we can discuss why, how, when, whatever questions you might have. This week, I wanted to focus a little bit on defending up higher on the field. Now, that's a big topic, especially for 9 and 10-year-olds. And so what we're not looking for is to be perfect at winning the ball back together as a unit up high on the field, right? Realistically, for 9s and 10s, we are looking at, can we put proper pressure on the ball? And if somebody puts pressure on the ball, can we as a group understand that we need to go help in some way? And compact is probably a good word to use there, right? Can we close the gaps, and then can we keep them closed? Those are some of the things that we're going to want to talk about as we talk about our team shape defensively. But as an individual, we are going to want to talk about the technical components of individual defending, right? How are we, when are we, why are we, all of those things, okay? So that's important. Now, it stems from last week's building out of the back session within the idea that essentially movement off the ball, combining to get forward, 2v1s, right? Can we effectively and efficiently get through a 2v1 scenario? So can we dribble and pass within the context of a 2v1? And in the back of the field, 2v1s are going to be pretty common, especially because you always have a goalkeeper available, or you should. Okay, so to start, I ran this session last night with the 14, 15, 16 girls. And now they're not 9 and 10, I understand that, but I can still see some of the issues that might arise, some of the things that we really want to bring out. Okay, so as we go through it, this first activity, personally for me, I want to talk about what I did. We only had 12 girls, so we did not use this central field. We used 2 outsides. And now we're also on a small 5v5 field, and this is really built for a 7v7 field, at least the 9-10 session is. And so realistically, our field went from the edge of the yellow to the inside post, just inside the post of the goal, right? So it covered up half a field, which is effective, and I think that that's fine. We also kept these goals there, but we added goals, the same type of goals here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Now, you could move these from here to here, depending on the goal of what you're trying to accomplish, okay? First, we had these players start at the build-out line, and that ball was played in to the blue player. So essentially what we did was we split up into 2 teams. I had one team rotating in on this side, one team rotating on this side, and the team that was rotating on this side was rotating from here to this position. So we had a cone set in the middle, a cone set on the end, and a cone set on the end here to the red dash line. So we went to the red dash line here, okay? And that's what we kind of used as our build out line, even at 14 to 16. So this ball came in. We expected a good hard ball played to the correct foot, which would be the right foot on this case and the left foot on this case. And we expect, based on the conversations we had last week, that we should be able to open our body and receive it on the left foot here and on the right foot here, given no pressure. And currently we have no pressure, because what I've asked is that the players stay behind that red line until this person makes a touch. So as soon as they make a touch, they can pressure. So what we've done is we've given this 1v1 defending a little bit of a chance for the attacking team to attack by giving them some space. We've also talked about the cues of when to pressure. So in this case, we're pressuring when the player gets the ball, right? And that's not ultimately what we want, but we want them to see what that looks like. Okay, so then after we've done that, right, for a couple minutes, right, then I'm going to have the players rotate, so each group gets to experience that, And then the next time through, I said, okay, now you can pressure as soon as this ball is played. And let's see how much pressure we can get on that player now, right? So what we're working through is the when. And the when to pressure is when that ball is played. Not after the player has received the ball, which is what I see quite a bit. And so can we get our nines and tens to understand the cue of when to pressure? Okay, and as the ball is played away from somewhere to where I'm defending or to a player that's close to me, that's when I need to move. Not before, not after. That's when I need to move. Now, there can be some anticipation. I'm not saying that that's not there, right? But can we move after that ball's played? So that's a really big cue to see if we can get our nines and tens to understand, right? Can we press as the ball's moving now? So all of us together, can we move as the ball's moving, right? So sometimes I hear coaches in the attack and in defense say that we're standing still too much and we're not moving. And then we tell players, hey, you need to move, right? But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to 9 and 10-year-olds. Move where? Move why? Like when? Like that's a loaded thing to say to a 9 and 10-year-old, right? So we need to give them cues of when to do these things. When the goalkeeper gets the ball, right, our outside backs need to get wide, right? So now we're talking about when are we moving and why are we doing it, okay? How are we doing it, right? We can get into some of that stuff. But if we start to give them cues of when to find space, when to do these things, right, they're going to understand, okay, I've seen that, now I need to do, okay? So it's typically not because kids are being lazy. They really want to play and have fun, right? They just don't know. And so giving them cues to do that is good. Now, on the defensive side, all we're looking at is can we press and can we force in a direction? Okay. Our first defender is forcing in a direction, not straight on, right? We want big steps as we're taking speed, as we're taking space, as much space as possible. And as that ball approaches, can we slow down and get low and take really fast, quick steps rather than big steps so we can move. Maybe sideways on, and can we force them in a direction? And that goes to this goal. So then I put a goal here. We wanted to force them central. Maybe we had help there. Okay, and so that's what I wanted to do, right? We're not getting into cover defender, but typically this would be where our cover defender probably would be. Okay, if I'm coming from a central area, let's say center mid in a 2-1-2 or a 7v7, we'd have like let's say a 3-3-1-2. It's that central midfielder coming to press, right? Maybe they're forcing them outside to push back into somebody else that they've got help. Okay, then we could move these cones outside to give them that reasonable expectation as well. Okay, so you could flip flop that depending on what you're wanting to do with your group. But either one is totally fine. Our ultimate goal is to force towards our help, especially in this area of the field up top. Right, we don't want to be defending alone up there. Okay, it's typically going to make a really tired athlete. So we're pressing, and that's what we're doing. We're pressuring as an individual. Okay, so we're working on those techniques. Right, rotate through quite a bit. As soon as we get it, can we find the goal? That's our goal here. As soon as we win the ball from the attacking team, can we play to that goal as quickly as possible? Right? When you win it, where will you go? We're going to score. Ultimate goal is to score. Okay, so now we get into this space here, and it's still, we've got this guy playing a ball in. They weren't a goalkeeper here, they're just playing this ball in. So really they're probably behind this area. That's a bad representation, and I'll fix that. I apologize. Same thing here. There's no goalie unless we have a goal there. We don't need a goalkeeper. We just need somebody to play the ball in. So it's a 2v2. Okay? It's a legitimate 2v2. Now, this player, if you're finding that they're having trouble being successful on the attacking side, we need them to be successful to challenge the defense. If we're having trouble being successful, the player that plays the ball in can maybe come in as a support player and give a 3v2. Totally okay, right? But now what we're doing is we're bringing pressure, right? And now we're bringing cover. And the cover's goal is twofold. Can we win the can we become the first defender? Are we in a space to where if this player gets beat, can we slide in and become the first defender? And number two, what we don't want is we don't want this ball to go between these two players. So realistically, if this red player is closer to the blue player, let's say this blue player has the ball, this red player would slide over and back. We don't want the ball to go through. Okay. Now, if this ball gets played, this is super simple. We just rotate up and we rotate back. So we're focusing on pressure or cover. That's it. Okay, those two things. We still want hard passes. We want to encourage all those things, but just pressure cover. Now we're looking at a game. Okay, we're looking. This should look as much like real soccer as possible. You might start with a goal kick and then have the build out line, but after that, let them play. Let them get a lot of repetition. Let it look like soccer. It needs to be challenging and it needs to be repetitive of the things that we're talking about. But the ideas aren't changing. When do we pressure? What does that look like? Where are we forcing them? Why are we forcing them there? How do we cut down space? How do we keep space closed? Um, those are questions that we should be asking. Okay, um, and that's really what we're looking for in this session. The problems I had were mostly in this because it becomes difficult, and that's okay. That's understandable. Those are the problems I had is in this game. Don't stop it too much. They need to find solutions, right? We can take players off one at a time, and again give them rest so they have a player subbing in, so that if a player is making the same mistake over and it's something that we've covered, take them off, discuss it, put them back on so they can try again, right? Failure is a good thing. We want them to make some mistakes, right? So really focus on that. Okay. Um, all right. Now session 2. Um, we're starting with the second and third activities from the day before. So all we're doing is scaffolding. Can we do the same thing? It's like a review, right? Can we touch on the stuff that we did? Can we get a refresher, right? And not the easiest format and not the most simulated pressure environment. And then can we get bigger? Okay, that's all we're doing here is getting bigger, right? In the indoor space, we're probably going to limit this down to 5v5 at the end, with the goalkeeper, and we're going a little bit bigger here. No goal on this end, just so we have a lot of repetition. You're going to want to move teams around back and forth. Okay, that's it. There's really nothing more than that. Give them a lot of repetition, make it challenging, make it fun, make it look like soccer, and ask some questions. Ask some questions that are on the curriculum, and we'll be successful in getting them to understand the technical components, and then the when and the how and the why. Right? Those are the things we're looking for. So enjoy your week. We'll see you tonight at the Zoom. Again, we will not go past 30. We're cutting it off at 30. So if there's a really, really, really good question at 30 minutes, anybody that wants to stay for it, that's fine. But we're going to get off at 30 minutes so we can get. We're going to let people go at 30 minutes so we can get out of there. We might park and lot that question for later too. So if it's a really good question, lots of people want to know the answer. Right. Otherwise, we'll see most of you guys tonight. Enjoy your sessions this week. I'm going to try to be at a couple from each age group this week. I'm scheduled to be at the bubble quite a bit. So if you see me, let me know if you have any more questions. Look forward to tonight. Have a good one, guys.